Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is your daily briefing for UPSC Current Affairs, and we're looking at May 2nd, 2025, Part 1. Especially for all of you focused on the exams, our aim here is, well, to really dig into the key information you need.
Exactly. We'll cut through the noise. And you might notice some topics we've touched on before. Think of it as useful revision.
Absolutely. If you find this valuable, please do hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps us keep this going.
Okay, so today we've got quite a mix lined up. We're starting with a major lake rejuvenation effort in Kerala.
Then shifting gears to global finance, specifically foreign institutional investors, FIIs, in India.
After that, something quite cutting edge. Natural hydrogen, a potential new energy source.
And then we'll step back into history, looking at a really important Maratha warrior, Raghuji Bhosale I.
But that's not all, is it?
Not at all. We'll also grapple with a puzzle from cosmology, the S8 tension.
Then acknowledge International Labor Day.
Followed by some good news on the wildlife front, a turtle species making a comeback.
We'll also cover the global fight against antibiotic resistance and the role of JAR-DP.
Plus, a look at the National Human Rights Commission in action.
And finally, we'll touch on airspace restrictions and something called NOTAMs. It's quite a range.
It really is. And remember, for you preparing for the UPSC, we're not just summarizing. We're unpacking what matters, why it matters for the exam.
Precisely. So let's dive right in. First up, Vembanad Lake in Kerala.
Right, this rejuvenation project. It's a big one, around 188 crore, I believe.
That's the figure mentioned, yes. And what's interesting is the approach. It's inspired by the Namami Gange program.
So taking lessons learned from the Ganga cleanup.
Seems like it. A 5-year plan's been submitted, but it might still be tweaked based on studies the center is doing right now. It shows a pretty serious commitment.
It needs it, doesn't it? The lake has faced some serious problems.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The scale is, well, concerning. Between 1917 and 1990, the lake actually shrank by 27%.
27%. That's huge.
Right.
What caused that?
Mainly land reclamation, filling it in, plus sedimentation and general encroachment. And the recent cleanup efforts tell a story, too. Nearly 29 tons of plastic waste removed recently.
Wow. And loads of water hyacinth, too, I read.
Exactly. It paints a pretty stark picture of the environmental stress it's under.
Just to remind everyone, Vembanad isn't just any lake. It's the longest in India, largest in Kerala. Stretches about 96.5 kilometers, right?
That's right, across Alappuzha, Kottayam, and Ernakulam districts. And people call it different things locally: Vembanad Kayal, Pudumatta Lake.
Kochi Lake as well sometimes. And it's fed by several major rivers.
6 main ones, yeah. Like the Meenakil, Achankovil, Pamba, Manemala. They all flow in before it connects to the Arabian Sea.
And ecologically, it's vital. It has islands like Patharamanal, supports the Kumarakom Bird Sanctuary.
Precisely. Plus, culturally, it's famous for the Nehru Trophy snakeboat race, the Valam Kali, every August.
And critically, for the UPSC context, it's a Ramsar site, designated back in 2002.
Which signifies its international importance as a wetland. So this whole issue, it touches on environmental conservation, wetland ecosystems, the Ramsar Convention, and, well, the impact of human activity.
It makes you wonder, while Namami Gange is a model, does Vembanad need its own unique strategy given its specific ecology? Something to think about.
Definitely. Okay, let's switch gears now to finance and foreign institutional investors, or FIIs.
Ah, yes, the big money flows. What's the latest headline there?
The main thing is, after 4 months of pulling money out, net selling FIIs actually became net buyers of Indian stocks in April 2025.
Oh, interesting. A turnaround. How much came in?
About 4,223 crore. It's a noticeable shift in sentiment for sure.
So for the exam, what do we need to understand about these FIIs?
Well, fundamentally, they're a type of foreign portfolio investor, FPI, usually large institutions, pension funds, mutual funds, that sort of thing. They tend to take a strategic, often longer-term view on markets like India.
But they can also cause instability if they pull out quickly.
That's the potential downside, yes. Large outflows can create volatility, which is why there's regulatory oversight.
And India has specific regulations for this, right? FEMA, SEBI.
Exactly. The Foreign Exchange Management Act, FEMA 1999, is key. Also, the SEBI regulations specifically for foreign portfolio investors. And the RBI keeps an eye on sectoral investment limits.
Are there limits on how much they can invest?
Yes. Typically, an FII can't hold more than 10% in a single Indian company. And there's a combined limit of 24% for all FIIs, NRIs, and PIOs together in one company, though this can sometimes be increased. And importantly, the rules have broadened eligibility. Now, Entities like university funds, endowments, trusts, if they have a 5-year track record, can also register as FPIs. And they can invest in unlisted securities, too, using their own funds.
Okay, so why the sudden shift back to buying in April? What changed?
A couple of key things, it seems. One is the U.S. dollar index softening. It came down from the sort of 104, 105 range towards 99, 100.
Making Indian assets relatively cheaper.
Precisely. Plus, the RBI stance has been seen as fairly accommodative, and India's overall macroeconomic stability looks pretty good compared to some other places.
So, confidence in the Indian economy.
That seems to be a factor. We've seen particular interest in the BFSI sector, banking, financial services, insurance.
Interesting. Any sectors they're avoiding?
Well, there seems to be reduced exposure to the IT sector, possibly due to worries about a potential U.S. recession hitting tech spending.
Makes sense. So for UPSC relevance, this connects to the Indian economy, investment flows, financial market dynamics, regulation, and how global factors influence India.
Absolutely. It's a key part of the economic picture. Now, for something completely different but potentially huge for the future, natural hydrogen.
Natural hydrogen. You mean a hydrogen that just exists underground?
Potentially, yes. Also called white hydrogen. It's found naturally in the Earth's crust, unlike the hydrogen we usually produce industrially, like gray or green hydrogen.
And this is gaining serious attention now.
It is. Major geological organizations, like the American Association of Petroleum Geologists and the USGS, are starting formal exploration efforts.
Yeah.
It's moving from theory to, well, active searching.
How is it formed down there? What's the geology?
There are a few main processes. One is called serpentinization, basically.
Yeah.
Water reacting with iron-rich rocks. Another is radiolysis, where natural radioactivity splits water molecules.
Okay.
And you can also get it from the decomposition of deep organic matter. Different geological settings favor different processes.
And the big deal is it's clean energy.
That's the promise. It could be a significant source of clean energy for decarbonization.
Yeah.
And the potential cost is really exciting. Early estimates are maybe around $1 per kilogram, maybe even less.
Wow, $1. That would be a game changer compared to other hydrogen production methods.
It absolutely would. Much cheaper than gray hydrogen, which has emissions, and potentially cheaper than green hydrogen made with renewables. And it's inherently low emission itself.
Incredible potential. Does India have geological settings where this might be found?
Yes. The geology looks promising in several areas. Think about the ancient cratonic belts like Dharwar or Singham.
Okay.
Also, large sedimentary basins, Vindhyan, Kudapa, Gondwana, Chhattisgarh basins, even zones with ophiolites, like in the Andaman Islands or parts of the Himalayas.
Ophiolites, remnants of oceanic crust.
Exactly. And also areas with deep basement rock fractures or geothermal activity like hot springs. So quite a diverse range of potential locations.
So for UPSC, this falls under renewable energy, energy security, India's own geological resources, and of course, environmental sustainability. Huge strategic implications if it pans out.
Definitely. Okay, staying with resources but shifting to history, let's talk about Raghuji Bhosale I.
Right, the Maratha commander. There was recent news about his sword being reclaimed by the Maharashtra government.
That's correct. It brought him back into the spotlight. He was really significant, the founder of the Nagpur branch of the Bhosale family, a major figure under Chhatrapati Shahu Maharaj.
And he held a prestigious title.
Yes, Sena Sahib Supha, awarded for his military prowess and contributions to the Maratha Empire.
And his military campaigns were quite expensive, weren't they?
Very much so. He led campaigns against the Nawab of Bengal around the 1740s and 50s, pushing Maratha influence right into Bengal and Odisha.
So expanding eastwards.
Yes, and also consolidating control over areas like Chanda, Chhattisgarh, Sambalpur. He even campaigned successfully in South India against the Nawabs of Kudapa and Kurnool. He had a reputation as one of the most courageous Maratha warriors of the 18th century.
The Nagpur Bonsalas were one of the key families within the Maratha Confederacy then.
Absolutely. Alongside families like the Peshwas, Scindias, Holkars, Gaikwads, Raghuji really established the Nagpur branch as a major power center in central and eastern India.
And there's an interesting lineage claim to Sisodia Rajputs.
Yes, they claim descent from the Sisodia Rajputs, connecting them to a prestigious lineage. They belong to the Hinganakar branch of the Bonsals.
Did their territory have any particular strengths?
Economically, yes. The region they controlled was rich in minerals, especially iron and copper. And they were known for skillfully using these resources, not just for tools, but also for crafting high-quality weapons.
Right, linking resources to military strength.
Exactly. So, for UPSC history, understanding Raghuji Histon and the Nagpur Bonsals is key for the Maratha Empire, major historical figures, military history, and the socioeconomic aspects of these kingdoms.
Okay, from 18th century India to the cutting edge of cosmology, let's talk about this S8 tension. What exactly is S8?
Right, S8 or Sigma 8 is basically a measure of how clumpy matter is in the universe today.
Yeah.
It quantifies the clustering of galaxies and dark matter on a specific large scale, about 26 million light years across.
So how uneven the distribution of stuff is?
Pretty much. And there's recent news from the Subaru telescope.
Yes, their findings seem to agree with other recent measurements from lensing techniques, suggesting value around 0.747 for S8.
Okay, let's back up a bit for context. The universe started very smooth after the Big Bang, right? We see that in the cosmic microwave background, the CMB.
The afterglow of the Big Bang, yeah. Very uniform.
But over billions of years, gravity has amplified tiny initial density fluctuations. So matter clumped together to form stars, galaxies, and the large-scale structures we see now. The universe became lumpy.
Makes sense. So where does the tension come in?
The tension is a disagreement between two main ways of measuring this clumpiness, or S8. Measurements based on the CMB, that snapshot of the early universe, predict a higher value for S8 today.
Okay.
But measurements looking at the present-day universe, using techniques like cosmic shear or gravitational lensing, consistently find a lower value for S8, like the Subaru result.
So the early universe observations predict more clumpiness today than we actually observe.
That's the essence of the S8 tension. It suggests our standard model of cosmology, called lambda CDM, man-CDM, might be incomplete or missing something. It doesn't quite reconcile these two sets of observations.
Can you briefly explain those two measurement methods, CMB and cosmic shear?
Sure. The CMB gives us a map of temperature fluctuations in the very early universe. From the pattern and size of these fluctuations, cosmologists can calculate how much matter existed and how it should have clumped over time, predicting today's S8.
Right, looking back in time.
And cosmic shear looks at the shapes of distant galaxies today. As light from these galaxies travels to us, its path is bent by the gravity of intervening matter, especially dark matter. This slightly distorts the observed shapes of the galaxies.
Gravitational lensing.
Exactly. By measuring these tiny distortions across millions of galaxies, astronomers can map out the distribution of matter, particularly dark matter, and directly calculate the current level of clumpiness, S8.
And these two methods are giving different answers. That's the puzzle.
Precisely. For UPSC, this touches on basic cosmology, the Big Bang, dark matter, dark energy, and crucially, the scientific method, how observations test and challenge our models of the universe.
A real scientific mystery unfolding. Okay, let's shift from the cosmos to something very much down to earth. International Labor Day.
Yes. May 1st, widely celebrated globally as May Day. It's a day to commemorate the historical struggles and achievements of workers and the labor movement.
And its origins trace back to the U.S., specifically Chicago.
That's right. The key event was the strike on May 1st, 1886, demanding an 8-hour workday. This led to the Haymarket Affair, a pivotal moment in labor history.
And that led to the international recognition.
Yes, in 1889, the Second International, a socialist organization, declared May 1st an International Day of Solidarity for workers worldwide.
It's interesting, though, the U.S. and Canada celebrate their Labor Day in September.
They do. But over 80 countries, including India, stick to the May 1st date.
When was it first observed in India?
The first recorded celebration was in Chennai back in 1923. It was organized by the Labour Kisan Party of Hindustan, led by Malayapuram Singaravellu Chettiar.
And today, it's typically marked by parades, union gatherings.
Yes, events focusing on workers' rights, fair wages, safe conditions, and celebrating the contributions of labor.
So, for the UPSC syllabus, this is relevant under social justice, labor rights, the history of social movements, and significant international observances.
Definitely. Now, moving to some potentially good news in conservation, the red-crowned roof turtle.
Ah, yes. Batagur Kachuga. What's the news here?
The really significant news is that it's reportedly been sighted nesting along the Ganga River after possibly 3 decades. A very hopeful sign for this highly endangered species.
That's fantastic news. It's a freshwater turtle endemic to South Asia.
Correct. Historically found in the river systems of India, Bangladesh, and Nepal. But its range and numbers have drastically reduced.
Where is its main stronghold in India now?
Primarily the National Chambal River Gharial Sanctuary. That's become its critical refuge.
Can you describe it a bit? What makes it distinctive?
Well, females get quite large, up to maybe 56 centimeters long and 25 kilograms. Males are smaller. They have this striking reddish-orange head, especially males in breeding season, with a black crown. The shell, the carapace, is usually greenish-brown with yellow patterns. The underside, the plastron, is yellowish with black marks. They have a broad head, strong jaws for an omnivorous diet, and webbed feet for swimming.
And its conservation status is quite serious.
Extremely serious. It's listed as critically endangered by the IUCN.
Critically endangered?
It's also in Schedule 1 of India's Wildlife Protection Act, 1972, offering the highest level of legal protection. And it's on Appendix 2 of CEATS, regulating international trade.
So multiple layers of protection, highlighting its vulnerability. This reappearance is really significant then.
It truly is. For UPSC, this story connects to biodiversity conservation, endangered species management, the role of protected areas like the Chambal Sanctuary, the legal frameworks like the Wildlife Act and CITES, and the health of river ecosystems. A small beacon of hope.
Definitely something positive. Now let's talk about a major global health challenge: antibiotic resistance and an organization called JARDP.
Yes, the Global Antibiotic Research and Development Partnership. There was recent research from them highlighting a major issue.
What was the finding?
It showed significant undertreatment of multi-drug-resistant infections, especially in low- and middle-income countries, including India. The core problem is often lack of access to the right antibiotics, even when they exist.
A huge access gap. So what does JRDP do?
Its mission is specifically to tackle this. It's a not-for-profit group focused on developing new antibiotic treatments for the most dangerous drug-resistant bacteria and working to ensure those treatments are accessible and affordable where they're needed most. It takes a public health approach.
How did it come about?
It was set up by the World Health Organization, WHO, and the Drugs for Neglected Diseases Initiative, DNDi. It was basically created to help implement the WHO's Global Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance from 2015.
Okay.
It was legally established as an independent foundation in Geneva in 2018. It acts as a partnership, bringing together public institutions, private companies, researchers, and civil society.
So tackling AMR requires this kind of collaborative effort.
Absolutely. For UPSC, this connects to public health, the critical issue of antimicrobial resistance, AMR, global health governance, the role of international organizations, and the challenges of healthcare access and equity.
A really vital area. Now, shifting to human rights oversight within India, the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC.
Yes, the NHRC was in the news recently for taking suo motu cognizance.
Meaning they initiated action on their own.
Exactly. Based on a media report about a very disturbing incident in Holi, Karnataka. It involved a serious crime against a minor, and then the accused reportedly died in police custody.
A serious situation. Remind us about the NHRC's role and structure.
Sure. It's a statutory body, meaning it was created by an act of Parliament, the Protection of Human Rights Act, 1993. It officially started on October 12, 1993. It's designed to be an independent body.
And its main job?
To promote and protect human rights in India. These are rights related to life, liberty, equality, and dignity, as guaranteed by the Constitution or embodied in international covenants ratified by India. Its objectives include strengthening the institutional framework for human rights, investigating violations independently, and also supporting other human rights bodies and promoting awareness.
Who sits on the commission?
It's headed by a chairperson, who must be a retired Chief Justice of India. Then there can be up to 5 other members, typically retired or sitting Supreme Court judges, retired or sitting High Court Chief Justices, and experts in human rights. Importantly, at least one member must be a woman.
Are there other members too?
Yes, there are 7 ex officio members. These are the chairpersons of various national commissions, like the National Commission for Minorities, SCs, STs, Women, Backward Classes, Child Rights, and the Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities.
How are they appointed?
The chairperson and members are appointed by the President, but based on the recommendation of a high-powered committee. This committee is chaired by the Prime Minister and includes the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, the Home Minister, leaders of the opposition in both houses, and the Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha.
And their term?
They hold office for 3 years or until they reach the age of 70, whichever is earlier. They are eligible for reappointment, but after their tenure, they can't hold any further employment under the central or state governments.
Okay, so understanding the NHRC, its mandate, composition, powers, is crucial for UPSC topics like statutory bodies, human rights protection, governance, and current affairs involving rights issues.
Absolutely essential.
Okay.
One final topic for this part. Notice to Air Mission, or NOTAM.
Right. This came up because India recently issued one affecting certain flights from Pakistan.
That's correct. India issued a NOTAM effectively closing its airspace to specific Pakistani aircraft registered, operated, or leased there,
Huh.
covering both civilian and military flights for a period.
So what exactly is a NOTAM?
It's basically an official notice issued by a country's aviation authority. It contains timely information that's essential for flight operations, personnel pilots, air traffic control, etc. It alerts them about any changes to aeronautical facilities, services, procedures, or potential hazards in the airspace or on the ground. Think of it as a critical bulletin for flight safety.
What kinds of things trigger a NOTAM?
Oh, a wide range. Could be temporary hazards like air shows, parachute jumping activities. It could be for VIP flight movements requiring airspace restrictions.
Okay.
Or maybe a runway or taxiway at an airport is closed. Perhaps a navigational aid like a VOR is unserviceable. Military exercises requiring airspace blocks. Even things like cranes or temporary obstacles near an airfield or unserviceable airport lighting.
So lots of potential reasons, all related to safety or operational changes. How are they communicated?
They're usually encoded with standard abbreviations to be concise and are disseminated rapidly through aviation communication networks. They're meant for information that needs to get out quickly, often with less than 7 days' notice.
And pilots check these before flying.
Absolutely critical. Pilots are required to review all relevant NOTAMs for their route before departure. Nowadays, this information is readily available through online platforms and flight planning software. Ignoring a NOTAM can be extremely dangerous.
Got it. So for UPSC, NOTAMs connect to aviation safety, regulations, technology and transport, national security considerations, and even international relations when airspace restrictions are involved.
Precisely. So that wraps up our main topics for this part. We've covered Vembanad Lake's rejuvenation, FII flows, the potential of natural hydrogen, Raghuji Bhosale I's legacy, the S8 cosmic tension, Labor Day's significance, the hopeful return of the red-crowned roof turtle, Johnny P's fight against AMR, the NHRC's role, and the function of NOTAMs.
Quite a journey across different domains, all relevant for your UPSC prep. We hope this deep dive has given you a clearer understanding and some solid points to build on.
Do take some time to think these through. Consider the connections, the implications. How does the environment link to the economy? How does history inform present-day identity?
Remember, this discussion is really a foundation. We always encourage you to go back to the sources, explore further, and deepen your own analysis.
And maybe a final thought to mull over. Thinking about that natural hydrogen. If it really takes off as a major, low-cost, clean energy source found within various countries, what could that mean for global energy politics and economics in the long run? Something beyond today's headlines.
A very pertinent question for the future. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive covering May 2nd, 2025, Part 1. Please do like and subscribe if you found this useful, and we'll be back with more insights for your UPSC journey.